believe it or not, I had been serving in the Senate a long time with my co-senator, Jeff Bingaman. And because of the way the Senate structured itself, I never got to be, nor was he, obligated to work with me and I with him for any long period of time on something hard. But 5 years ago, we got the job, and we got the opportunity. I was chairman of the Energy and Natural Resources Committee, which is not the committee that spends the money. The people in New Mexico got it all wrong. That's the committee that spends the money on Sandia and Los Alamos. It's a little old subcommittee of appropriations that spends all that money. This committee passes big laws about how you preserve the forest. And it was charged with trying to produce a new energy bill for our country. We hadn't had one in about, imagine, with all the changes, we hadn't had a new energy bill in about 20 years. And the first 2 years of my term as chairman, I blew it because I decided to do it the same old way. I've got 3 more Republicans than he has Democrats, and so I'll get it my way, right? If I have to, I'll roll them over, right? I got more votes. We didn't get anything. Got up about 2 years of work, no bill. Shameful to me. Went back to my office and said, this ain't worth it. And sure enough, I decided, went to see Senator Bingaman, and I sat across from him there and said, I want to tell you something. Why don't we pledge to each other that we got 2 more years to work on this bill, and then they'll get tired enough of us, and if we can't produce something, they'll give it to somebody else around here. Why don't we try this too a different way? Why don't we do it in a non-partisan way? I won't try to push my slight majority on you, and you won't have to give away everything to me just because I've got a few more votes than you. Let's just do as much as we can together. Kind of unheard of in Washington. A totally bipartisan, major piece of legislation. Well, we worked on it for about 18 months. We went to conference with the House. It took about 1 month. So a period of 19 to 20 months, we produced a 365-page new energy bill for the United States. Senator Bingaman and I ended up shaking hands saying, you know, we really have missed out. We've both been here long enough to have been able to try to do things bipartisan when they're important enough to the country. That 1 or 2 vote margin in the United States Senate should not be indicative that the 1 or 2 vote margin group has to run around and jump all over the other one because we can yell and claim that it's the will of the people. The will of the people's too close there for you to tell which one's which, right? You got to go out there and try to do it together. And so I can tell you one of the good things that happened is that we produced a marvelous bill, and I wish I had my bag here. I'd pull out and tell you all the great things that happened on that energy bill because of it. Just terrific things. Ethanol. We're building ethanol plants almost 1 every 2 weeks across this land. It costs between $50 million and $150 million each. We finally decided we were going to go nuclear again after many of you grew up with it. Then we had a couple of accidents and we decided to bury it, right? And we found out we had this problem in outer space. Whether you believe it or not, everybody believes there's a problem. Whether you believe it's man-made or not, not about argument. Whether you believe that we should do it all alone, even if China won't do it, that's another big fight for this global warming. But you know, the truth of the matter is that we ought to try to do it together if we can. He and I and both parties. We got up one morning and found out that we don't have the authority to do that in our committee. The way the Senate ruled, it's going to another committee, and you read all about that. And I don't mean to do this in any kind of jestful way, but it'll be handled by Barbara Boxer of New York, of California. I don't know whether we get anything done. She came out here in county, and go down here in county Doniana, who knows where she's come out. That's what you all know me. I'm not quite sure he's trying for himself. But anyway, in addition to that, that bill that I'm telling you about put nuclear power on a map so much that they say there's a renaissance in the world of nuclear power, and that's the result of that bill. And I must pat myself on the back and the work of your senator and this senator, who has spent 10 years since that famous speech I made at Harvard University, known as the Domenici Harvard speech 10 years ago, where I said if we do these 10 things, we'll have nuclear power again. And we've done 9 of them. We're about there on the 10th. And frankly, there are now 34 preliminary applications for 1,000 megawatt plant, megawatt each, for 34 new nuclear plants. We had 0 for a period of 30 years with this bill. China just ordered 4, and we are going to, by Christmas, move along with the license on 4 new ones in America. And if you wanted to ask me a question, I'll ask it for you. Where are you going to build them? That's the first thing people say, because they think they got the solution to what's going to kill nuclear power. And guess what? You know, there's over 100 nuclear power plants in the United States. You've seen them. Industry went out and went to buy each one of them and said, would you like another one next door to it? And guess what? They found everybody that had a nuclear power plant said, build another one, we like them. So they didn't have any trouble with sites, Mayor. They picked sites right next to the old ones, and they were already, the community has agreed, you got one, we'll take 2. Nobody gets hurt, a lot of people get work. That's kind of interesting. For me, it shows we tap in on that, and there's a way to address the issue of global warming, and by having the countries that make a lot of it be responsible for it by building nuclear power plants that don't give you any of the carbon, none, 0, that comes from the burning of carbon to make that we have to do, that every country must, because it's the cheapest and most available fuel to produce electricity. And you know, China's building one power plant out of coal every 3 days. You understand? We haven't built any yet the last 8 or 9 years here. None. They're building every 3 days, building one in China. They can't catch up. They built this giant dam, you heard about it, and they just ordered 4 nuclear power plants to be built by an American company. So there's lots to do, and there's lots of ways to do it, and I think I've chosen the way to do it together. We'll see where it falls down. I'm not sure when and which one, but as far as your 2 senators, we are very different in the way we vote. And if you want to put that up side by side, you can find out what we do. Very different. I don't think there's much question. I'm more conservative. We've decided we're going to work together where we can. That's going to be good for us and for this great country of ours. I want to close by just a couple of minutes. We've got to go do some work that's not very pleasant. But it's my job, at least I've taken it, that when anybody dies in the wars over there that's from my state, I make it a purpose of calling them up. At least talk to somebody in their family. So we've got another one in the paper, 2 over the weekend, and so I either have to get them in person or make a phone call. I do want to say to you,